Hi, I'm Vikram Sharma from Cisco. From the IoT BU, I do security solutions within the IoT BU for industrial networks. And today I'll be talking about various lessons we've learned on implementing network security for industrial IoT. So the question is, how do you secure your revenue generating operations, which we know can have a significant dollar impact in case of outages? Um, so in this case, I'm sharing a automotive plant that the concepts for security apply across automotive, consumer goods, uh, electric utilities, ports, oil and gas, refineries, pipelines, etc. And we have seen over the last few years, there have been a number of high profile industrial cybersecurity breaches, and they have been extremely disruptive. So, so what have we learned from these? What we've learned is a few crucial uh, takeaways. First one being IoT assets or the OT assets have very limited visibility. And for all of these attacks that we saw in the previous slide, malware has been the killer. They were all impacted by different kinds of malware. The workflow between IT and OT has been ineffective, so they have not been able to combat once these malwares have struck. And the complexity that is positioned on the operational teams because of security, they are not ready to handle that. So uh, if you look at these, there are numerous roadblocks towards success, and the guidance we are trying to provide is something that could be useful across many different industries. The first thing is to build a converged IT/OT security operations center. It is a journey. And what we have found out is we need to define very specific objectives, specific architectures, and define this as a journey. So we've defined three steps: minimal security, foundation security, and full spectrum security. And these are three distinct architectures which are additive, and they provide and bring in more and more sophisticated security postures within the industrial networks. Um, so what do these do? These adapt the objectives to limit complexity so as to align all stakeholders in order to achieve industrial security. So let's look at what is step one, which is minimal security. In here, we've used 62443-3 representation of areas and conduits or zones and conduits. In here, there is a boundary and electronic security perimeter that separates out the industrial or the OT network from the IT network. This is a firewall. In this case, we have a Cisco next generation firewall that brings this separation. So how do we go from the step one, which is minimal security, which we are saying all industrial concerns should have that? How do you go to foundation security, which is step two? Um, for that, we need to bring in some additional and new capabilities. We've adapted this model. This is a framework, discovery, network segmentation, threat detection, investigate, and response. Enterprise security teams have been doing this for many years, and we've adapted this for the industrial zone. And what does this do? In a nutshell, it lets you gain visibility on the OT network and the OT process, and then you can build and enforce the right security policies. So how does this operate? Um, the changes that we make, if you look at, which is step two, the foundation security architecture, there is still the IDMZ, which was built in step one. And now we are taking security capabilities and technologies into the industrial network. You'll notice the first thing here is cyber vision. This lets us have um, discovery of all the assets, of all the various application and communication flows within these assets and devices. And so it lets you know what's going on. It can also tell you what are the known vulnerabilities with your assets. The second thing is we are having these zones, and on these zones, we are providing the segmentation, right? And the segmentations are secured through ISA 3000, which is the Cisco Industrial Security Appliance. It's a firewall and it provides firewall capabilities. But over and above that, number three is it provides capabilities against malware and intrusion. It's running the same software, firepower software, that is running in the next generation firewall inside the IDMZ. And all of these provide an interesting capability, which is it provides containment within zones. So if there is a breach, if there is a malware that happens to come in through a maintenance laptop that was plugged into a device inside a cell, then that malware stays contained within that cell and does not propagate beyond the cell, either east, west, or north. The consistency, number four, is of all these rules and policies is maintained through a single instance of Cisco FMC, which is in the enterprise zone. Number four stands for Firepower Management Center. And number five, all the information of events and assets and all of this is being fed into the Security Operations Center with the necessary OT context. So now you have the enterprise SOC having visibility to both assets as well as events and security events that are happening inside the industrial zone. So they can bring to bear some kind of investigation capability. In here, we've shown number six, which is SecureX, which is Cisco's investigative and case and security case management tool. So with this, what you have achieved are these 6 items, and it lets your IT team now have access to the right context so as to push forward and introduce security policies that support production, that support the operations, but at the same time provide security services. So this is step 2. Now, the interesting thing is we have put in security products inside the industrial network in step 2 in the foundation security architecture, and there are essentially just 3 products. You got cyber vision that provides a detection capability, all the asset inventory, industrial process tracking, and protection is provided by the industrial security appliance ISA 3000 that does intrusion protection, provides standard firewall capabilities, and protects against malware. And the third product, which is on your enterprise side, it provides a investigation and threat management, case management solutions, so it lets you respond to it. And all of these can get intelligence from Talos. So very simple, not a whole lot of complexity to get a huge amount of security posture and security protection. The same architecture, these same 3 products can now be applied to electric utilities. We follow the same process, right? Discover, segment, detect, and respond. In here, we've shown a transmission grid. Here on the bottom left, we have a firewall, again, an ISA 3000 that provides that containment to a particular substation. And cyber vision is running within the network here that collects information of what assets, what firmware versions of these assets, what are the application flows going on here, and it reports back out to the Cyber Vision Center, which is deployed in the Security Operations Center. Similarly, here on the distribution grid, we have cyber vision sensors that gives us the application flow information. It gives us the asset information of what's going on in these assets. And all of that contextual information is available here in the Security Operations Center. All of these firewalls, the ISA 3000 devices, these are managed consistently by the FMC, including the next generation firewall, which provide that DMZ barrier. Again, SecureX for investigations and response and case management. So if you see, utilities have also used these same technologies to gain this kind of security process and security protection. The other interesting thing is these processes, because they are clearly articulated in discover, segment, detect, and respond, the roles and responsibilities of IT and OT can be clearly identified and the workflow is built. Excuse me. The last step, full spectrum security, it deepens some of these capabilities that we have in foundation security. We've extended the visibility and detection by deploying StealthWatch so you can look at net flows. And then we have enabled more granular segmentation by Cisco TrustSec, by Cisco ICE. That gives us granular segmentation. And then we are providing Umbrella that gives us DNS support. So in this sense, our three-step journey is very concrete products and architectures that brings more deepening and broadening security postures. So the top three priorities, what we've learned is we must build the industrial DMZ that can be done by just the IT team to provide a secure perimeter. Number two, we introduce foundation security inside the OT network. And this provides a security capability within the network that protects and isolates any spread of intrusions and malware. And thirdly, we need to operationalize the OT security processes, right? What does that mean? Establish various collaborative workflows between IT and OT. We have enabled that through this integrated security operations center where all the OT context, OT information of OT devices, flows, events are all being funneled into the same SOC. Start taking some corrective actions. You see some high-level security events. Take action to look at those events, take the corrective actions, get the operational processes going, and then implement best practices to make this as one of the standard OT processes that just need to be run, just like maintenance of devices, right? So what we figured out is we need to get to this foundation first, and then we can build a more extensive converged IT/OT security strategy, a lot more interoperability. Also have a pointer to the solution brief that describes how the foundation security can be implemented in these spaces. That's all I had for today. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.